So this is just going to be a quick rundown for the all the SSR characters in the game so far. So if you didn't know, at the top here, if you click this gift box, go to newcomer event, there's actually these missions here, and if you do, and you get points from completing them right here. And if you get a total of 700 points, you actually get a SSR box right here. In that box, you can choose any of these right here. You can choose Thunder Blades, Rosy Edge, Ice Wind Arrow, Absolute Zero, Sight of the Crow, Chakram of the Seas, Negating Cube, Dual EM Stars, or Molten Shield V2. So quick rundown of the first three. If you want a really good DPS, then I would suggest you get one of these here. Chakram of the Seas, Shiro, Dual EM Stars, Samir, or Sight of the Crow, King. So King and Samir are probably the top tier right here, but Shiro is also very good if you're wanting a good physical DPS. So what King does is he has a 5 basic attack string here, and his last attack on his first set of basic attacks knocks him in the air, cause him to go airborne, and you can keep continuing your second string here with another 5 attacks. Something to note, that on the final attack here, when you knock the target down, depending on how high you are in the air when you knock the target down, it actually does more damage towards the target if it's a large distance when you go down into the ground, up to a maximum of 600% damage. So this is tapping and holding normal attack when you're airborne, or if you're climbing, jumping backward, or using a jetpack. You can also trigger this as well. You just have to tap and hold normal attack. While falling, you deal damage equivalent of a very little % of attack per hit. Upon landing, you deal damage, splash damage, equivalent of that much, and you also deliver a knockdown. The higher the altitude when you trigger the attack, the greater the damage dealt. Again, up to maximum of 600% damage, similar to his final big attack string here. And this one is on his fourth or more normal attack. You can do a charge attack to trigger returning chain blade, and this does a decent amount of damage. But the thing to note that it pulls in nearby targets around you, so this is really good to concentrate them all in one place. So you can, let's say, follow it up with Shiro's skill here or Samir's skill here and get a lot of AoE in. This is sneak attack. If you didn't know you can sneak in this game, just press Z. So a sneak attack here is you approach the enemy from behind, and then you do your sneak attack, which deals a massive amount of damage actually. This is his dodge attack. His dodge attack, you can tap normal attack during the dodge window to trigger rapid lunge. You also deal to this and you pull in nearby enemies. It's the same as if you do this, or if you do a charge attack after 4 basic attack strings. Domain of that is when you dodge, you summon a domain of bats that pulls the target into the center. If you press normal attack during the short period after dodging to swing the scythe, you can deal up to 104.3%. So this happens when you have a perfect dodge, and this one just happens when you dodge. A skill here is a simple AoE slice. It's called Mortal Coil. Is you swing the scythe, but the thing to note that it does a massive amount of damage here, which is why King is recommended to be a good pickup if you want melee DPS. And this is his discharge attack. When the weapon charge is full, or when Fantasia is triggered, you remove all debuffs from yourself. This is consistent with all the other ones. You also create Flaming Scythe when you switch onto this weapon. And what it does is practically you'll see scythes on the ground appear from the enemy's feet. It'll pop up occasionally. It'll deal this much damage. It lasts for 10 seconds. They also spawn scythes every 2 seconds, and they cause eruptions from the ground, which deal damage equivalent of 66% of attack, and also suspends targets in the air. So if they're in the air, you can combo it with your plunge attack, the one that depends on the altitude, etc. His advancements, so his shatter is already pretty good. It has an S. Your first star increases your shatter power by 15%, and after shattering the target's shield, you also deal a burn equivalent to 120% of attack to the target every 15 seconds. Your 2 stars increases your weapon's base HP growth by 16%. It's alright. First star has a lot more benefit. 3 stars, you increase damage dealt by 10% for each enemy within 6 meters up to a maximum of 30%. So this is a synergy with his chain skill where he pulls enemies towards him. 4 stars increases the weapon's base attack by 32%. 5 stars increase damage dealt by HP shield or shielded enemies by 100%. And 6 stars increase damage dealt. So the same as 3 star here, but you can stack this 3 times. And it's not for how many people around you, but rather how many people you slayed. And this is Samir's kit. Thing to note that unlike King, her shatter ability is absolute garbage. This is her basic attack here. You do 5 attacks. Bullet rain, while you're airborne, you can do like a helicopter thing, where literally like a helicopter is shooting at the ground, but it consumes a lot of endurance, a lot of your stamina. So try not to use this one too much, or you'll find yourself running out of stamina a lot. Energy burst is just holding down your mouse button, or whatever button you click, and then you just rapid fire your guns at the enemy. Phantom kick is the knockdown ability. You knock the target down and deal damage equivalent to 70.5% of attack. And upon landing, you do an AoE splash at nearby enemies, and you also launch them back. Rise and Lightning Kick is your dodge attack, where if you dodge and press your attack button, you'll actually kick the target in the air and knock yourself in the air. You can combo it with your helicopter or your plunge attack, whatever you want. This is her skill. Acts sort of like Gibby's shield from Apex. You fire an energy shield at target, and if you're inside the barrier, it reflects beams. Also deals damage equivalent to that, and the last hit of it strongly suspends targets. Thing to note that things inside will constantly take damage. And this is her discharge attack. So when you discharge, you create a domain of thunder at the target location, and you also suspend the target as well. You deal a total of 238% over 3 attacks, or like a dot, and you also get rid of the enemy's builds as well. So this thing lasts for 3.5 seconds and deals damage every 0.5 seconds. So this is a nice dot. For your 1 star here, you trigger an electrical explosion on the target after landing a crit hit, and after that you deal additional damage equal to 30% of attack to the target and nearby enemies. The cooldown is just so you can't spam it 24/7, but it's a very low cooldown anyways, you can't stack it. 2 stars is you just increase your current weapon's base attack by 16%. 3 stars is you increase crit rate to electrified targets by 40%. Electrical explosions extend the duration of electrified effects by 0.5 seconds, up to a maximum of 5 seconds. 4 stars increase your current weapon's base attack by 32%. 5 stars double the duration of the electro field and can pull targets into the center of the attack. Electro field is your skill here, your Gibby shield. And your 6 stars is when you trigger an electrical explosion. It actually reduces your skill cooldowns by 1 second, because this electro field skill has a extremely long cooldown similar to King. This is Shiro's weapon. Her shatter is okay, it's not as good as King's, but she's a very good DPS, also a good pickup if you need physical. She has a 5 basic attack string here. Thing to note that at the final, you knock target back just a little bit of distance. Her aerial discharge is when you're airborne or when you jump once, you can tap normal attack to unleash 3 attacks. it does not quite do a lot of damage. And right here is after the second normal attack, you can hold to do a charge attack, and what this does is it sends out 5 discs instead of sending out 1 by 1. Your air spin is when you're in the air, you can tap and hold normal attack to trigger it, and you unleash a missile projectile type of thing, sort of like a mini nuke, but it doesn't do that much damage. It also suspends nearby targets in the air. It's an AoE as well. Her sneak attack here is when you're crouched, just go behind them and do a sneak attack. Not much to explain here. This is her dodge attack, Waning Moon. This is a very important mechanic tied in with your skill here. So when you tap normal attack during a short period after dodging, you trigger Waning Moon. During Waning Moon, you can toss a spinning chakram forward, which deals damage equivalent to 132.9% of attack, and also stuns the target for 0.5 seconds. So the stun itself is not that much. However, the thing to note that the chakram you send out splits into 3 and continues to travel. These split chakrams, when combined with your skill, will bounce around in it, which you normally can't do with your normal and base attacks here, as it just goes through it. Probably doesn't make sense right now, but your skill here is you create a circle around yourself, and enemies are pulled in. Their speed is reduced by 30% for 8 seconds. And you also fire 5 chakrams that bounce in between the enemies within this circle. So it's sort of like a Beyblade. You can think of it like that. So it bounces up to 5 times. So your normal attacks here, if you do it within that Beyblade arena, it actually won't bounce. It'll just go straight through. But if you use your dodge attack here and you trigger Waning Moon, the ones that split will bounce during this skill, and those bounce up to 5 times as well, so you can get a lot more damage if you combo it with the dodge attack, if you have the stamina and dodge charge, and not if you do these ones, because they don't bounce around in it. This is your discharge attack. When it's full, you unleash Chakram of the Seas at the target, and the targets that are hit, they get stunned. It's an AoE stun for 1 second, plus 1 attack each against up to 3 units every second. Each attack has a 10% chance of stunning the target for 1.5 seconds and deals a nice hefty dot for 10 seconds. So these are the 3 skills here. This is Shiro's normal basic attack string. This is the Beyblade arena I was talking about. So if you do your dodge thing here, they split and you can... do your thing. This is King's basic attack string. The final attack launches you in the air. You can combo it into another one. And the last one here is you knock target down, does more damage depending on how high you are in the air. So if you did it up there and you went all the way down there, it would do a lot more damage than just doing it from like up here. This is your skill, pulls enemies in. Samira's basic attack here. Not much. You got your Gibby shield, enemies inside will take damage there. Your dodge attack will knock you in the air, your helicopter ability, and your plunge attack. So the next set here is if you need a more supportive type of character, then you will pick these ones, such as Negating Q. You can't pick this one, but Molten Shield V2 is also very good. So Molten Shield V2 is practically Huma. Let me get her. This is Huma right here. So she has 2 stances. Your first is your shield stance. You're very tanky. If you press and hold normal attack during any part of a string, you'll do this stance. You can't move or do anything. But after 3 seconds, or if you get hit, you do a counter similar to Beto, or similar to Fiora if you ever played League. So you can just press your skill and you can switch stances from shield into a claymore hammer, and this part does a lot more damage than the shield. So she's also very versatile in being tanky as well as doing a decent amount of damage as well. So while you're on the ground, you swing your shield 4 times in a row. Here's this if you want to read it. It's a lot of text. This is his aerial strike. While you're in the airborne or when you jump once, you can attack 3 times in a row. Not much here. Anticipation is the holding stance, where you can tap and hold to enter the stance, and after 3 seconds you can't move. All damage taken is reduced by 50%. If you release the normal attack button after you take damage, or after holding the button for 3 seconds, it'll unleash a mini explosion which deals that much damage and also inflicts a 1-second stun. The stun is honestly not that long, but this is a very good skill if you ran out of dodge charges and you know a big attack is coming. You can't take it, so you would use this instead because of that nice damage reduction. Valor is when you tap your normal attack when you're in the air, and then you can trigger air branch attacks with it. Higher the altitude, more damage dealt, similar to King. Her dodge skill is Erupt, where she just sends out a mini bash that's ranged to the target. It differs based on if you're in shield form or if you're in axe form. As you can see here, the axe form does quite a bit of more damage, while the shield form is more supportive. You can stun targets, do less damage. Your skill attack is just switching from shield to axe, or switching from axe to shield. So when you cast it, you do a lot of damage and you suspend the target, and you also leave fire around you for 5 seconds that burns targets. This deals a hefty dot here. If you're switching from axe to shield, you slam it on the ground. It does less damage than if you're switching from shield to axe. And you also knock the target back. In addition, you also prevent the target from switching weapons for 5 seconds. Her discharge here is very good for support. You unleash a flame shockwave, and you also taunt enemies for 5 seconds. So when you use this, all enemies will start attacking you instead of your teammates or whatever. During this, you gain a 15% damage reduction, and you can also scatter shield-shaped objects based on a number of targets taunted. These objects last for 20 seconds and provide 10 seconds of 5% damage reduction, and it is stackable. This also restores your dodge by 1. So your 1-star advancement is you gain a stack of strong shield. When you use a dodge skill or a branch skill while in shield form, it grants a stack of this strong shield stack, which grants damage reduction for 15 seconds and stacks up to 3 times. If you're in shield and you switch into axe form, you convert all of those stacks, which increases your damage dealt by 15% for 15 seconds. 2 stars increases your weapon's base HP. 3rd star is when you're in shield form. You can branch dodge attacks, which deal additional damage, equivalent to 4% of the target's current HP. That's very strong. 4 stars increases your attack. 5 star is when you immediately switch to shield axe. You immediately grant a 30% damage reduction that diminishes by 10% every 3 seconds. So it just lasts 3 seconds practically, down to a minimum of 10%. And switching weapons cancel this effect. 6 stars increases damage dealt by 60% when you do your shield into axe conversion, and also expands the radius of the flame zone by 30%. If you're switching from axe to shield, for the next 5 seconds, it turns all damage received into HP, so you actually heal. You can heal to a maximum of 15% of your max HP. So honestly, she is a very good all-around character. She's tanky, has good shatter, and also has a decent amount of damage with her axe. This negating cube here. This is more so a supportive character in comparison to Molten Shield, where Molten Shield does quite a bit of damage. Negating cube does not do quite a bit of damage, unfortunately. So on your ground, you have your normal basic attack here. Thing to note that it has a passive where if normal attacks hit the target 6 times, you gain 1 cube and up to 5 cubes can be stored. While you're airborne, you can tap normal attack to activate the energy within the cube and you fire missiles. Has another passive where if you have stored cubes, you will consume all the cubes to fire additional damage. To deal additional damage and fire additional missiles. So those cubes you accumulated here from this normal attack, you expend it all by doing a charge attack in the air. So this energy overflow is your punch attack. And tap it to trigger that, and upon landing you do a shockwave. Does not do much damage, but yeah. Omnium Shock. On the third normal attack, if you hold the normal attack button, you can trigger Omnium Shock. A pillar launches nearby targets in the air, knocking them airborne. Pillar lasts for 5 seconds and deals damage equivalent to 28.5% of attack every second. So this is it's an okay dot. So these cubes that you accumulate from doing basic attacks on the same target, if it hits enemies, it actually does damage, but not that much. I would say this is practically negligible. So when you cast Omnium Missiles or Energy Overflow, the orbiting cubes are fired as well. Does extra damage. It's what we explained here during Omnium Missile here. Dodge attack, nothing really special, except that if you have 5 or less cubes, a successful dodge has a 40% chance to restore 1 dodge attempt. And successful dodges also don't interrupt your normal attack string, so you can continue from the 3rd or 4th depending on where you dodged. You also have a passive where you gain a cube for every successful aerial dodge. Cool. His Omnium Shield is you actually create a shield for yourself and nearby allies to block up to 800% of attack in damage for 10 seconds. And you also deal that much damage to nearby targets and you launch them in the air. Each cube in possession adds 160% to the max shielding here of 800%, and it also gets rid of the cube. Your discharge is you unleash 5 cubes along a shockwave. This shockwave deals damage equivalent to 171% of attack and launches them in the air. Each cube also deals damage equivalent to that much, and if allies are near you, they actually gain immunity for 3 seconds. First star, you deal damage to produce a healing orb, so this heals you. This one increases your base attack to help with your skills here. This reduces your skill cooldown from half, and you also restore HP equal to 30% of attack every second while the shield is active. So, I mean, you can tell from this, he's a really supportive character, specializing in shields and healing if you have any of these advancements unlocked. 5 stars, you damage the target, which produces a damage orb, which lasts for 20 seconds and increases all damage and healing of any teammate who picks it up by 2%. Stacks up to 10 times. Last star here, when you're using a skill, it grants allies healing orbs and damage orbs equal to the amount of cubes you have. So this, I would say, if you already have really good DPS like King, Samira, or Shiro, but you're looking for a more tanky alternative, Molten Shield or Huma, highly recommended. Highly recommended Negating Cube if you're looking for a support type character who specializes in shields and shielding. Healing is more of an afterthought because you need advancements to unlock those. but he's very good at shielding. Final 3 here. Thunderblades is Crow. 5 normal attack basic string. 5 normal basic attack string in the air. And this is on your 3rd normal attack. You can hold the normal attack to trigger rapid lunge, and it suspends the target. Spiral dive. Tap and hold normal attack while you're in the air. It does your plunge attack, and you do a spiral dive, and you just deal damage in a line. Spiral attack. Pretty simple character. So your dodge, when you tap normal attack during the perfect dodge window, you trigger flying blades and you slash a target 5 times, which each deals damage equivalent to that. The thing is, when you use this, you also grant immunity to crowd control effects, so you cannot be stunned or knocked up or whatever. Your skill here launches 6 blades around you. You also gain hyper body for up to 8 seconds. And the blades also come back after 8 seconds, which also deals damage. Your discharge is when you start blinking at the target, like you teleport, and you deal damage equivalent of that. You also electrocute the target, and after 5 seconds you deal volt damage equivalent of 15% of damage dealt, so sort of like Zed's ultimate, up to 350% of the Wanderer's attack. This is an abnormal status that can be dispelled. It also spawns 3 blades that orbits around the Wanderer, similar to the skill here, but instead of 6 you got 3. It also doesn't deal much, but it does a little bit of damage to anyone that touches it. 1 star, when you attack targets from behind, it increases your crit rate of all your blade attacks by 40%. Backstabbing a target actually increases your crit rate by 100% and your crit damage by 30%. So if you have Nemesis, if you didn't know Nemesis here, her weapon has a passive where you actually increase volt damage by 15% and volt resistance by 25% if you have 2 or more volt weapons. If you equip this with Samir's ability here or Crow's backstab ability here, you actually get quite a bit of boost from it. It's very, very good. 2 stars increases your weapon base attack. 3 star increases damage by 30% to targets with less than 60% HP. Just more damage. 4 stars increases your HP. 5 stars triggers a back attack. When you trigger a back attack or back strike, you get 100% crit rate for the next 4 seconds on all your attacks instead of that 1 attack. And also increases your crit damage by 50%. So it's just a extension of the 1st star here. And your 6 stars will increase volt damage dealt to the target by 20% for 20 seconds. So this is very good if you're running a monovolt team with Nemesis and Samir. This is Amber or Icewind Arrow. 5 normal attack basic attack, charged arrow. When you score a headshot, you deal double damage. This is your arrow rain ability, where after any normal attack, you can hold normal attack to unleash arrow rain, which deals 287.2% of attack. Ice volley, when you're in the air, you can tap normal attack to attack 4 times in the air. Your dodge attack is similar to the SSR character you get early on in the game, the fire one. Her skill fires 3 piercing ice arrows. The main shot deals that much damage, and the other shots only deal 60% of damage. They also knock back the targets and stun them for 5 seconds if they collide with an obstacle. Her discharge is Explosive Barrage, where she creates a hailstorm similar to Amber's ultimate in Genshin. Does 570% of attack, and also has a 10% chance to inflict a 2-second stun freeze effect. You also gain the effect called Cold Front, which increases speed by 45% for 7 seconds. She's okay, I guess. If you need a DPS, I wouldn't recommend picking her, but if you like her, waifu over meta, then sure, pick her. But If you need DPS, you're better off picking one of these three up here: Scythe, EM Stars, or Chakram. Right, her 1-star is you grant a stack of sharp arrow each time the arrow fired from a dart attack hits the target. Each stack increases damage by 5% for 15 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. 2 stars increases your base attack growth. 3 stars launches a dodge attack which fires 3 charged arrows, pretty good burst damage. 4-star normal. 5-star, you get double duration of your arrow storm and also slows targets by 25%. 6 stars, your sharp arrow stacks up to 5 times, and hitting a target with a charged arrow immediately grants 3 stacks, and headshots gain 5 stacks. So if you like playing a marksman, pick her up. But if not, don't pick her up. Unless she's your waifu, then pick her up. Rosy Edge, Meryl. Poster of the game, poster girl. So her shield shattering ability is a bar none. Her shield shattering is amazing. But she's also more of a tanky supporter rather than a damage dealer. Highly recommend her. If you need a tank that deals ice damage and has an amazing amount of shield shattering. Normal attacks here, nothing special. After third normal attack, you can hold it down and you start spinning. This is your plunge attack. Not much to say here. Your dodge, normal dodge. Devastate is when you do your normal attack during a perfect dodge. You deal damage and you launch targets in the air. And this is your second dodge attack, but not from a perfect dodge. This skill here is amazing for shattering shields. You get suspended and you swing your greatsword and you do a bunch of these wave attacks. It increases damage dealt by 5% with each hit, and you're also immune to all crowd control effects while you're in this phase, since it takes quite a bit of time. Your discharge here is you deal damage equivalent of that. It creates a barrier around you. Targets that are inside gets their speed reduced by 50% and stops them from dodging or jumping. The barrier lasts 5 seconds and it also blocks projectiles. So this is good, but it can sometimes be annoying because you get blocked in it as well. It's really easy to get stuck. 1-star, you increase your shatter by 15% and restore 10% HP after shattering the target's shield. 2 stars, basic HP growth. 3 stars, when you switch to this weapon, you gain a ice shield equal to 10% of your max HP. This ice shield can last up to 20 seconds with a 20 second cooldown. 4-star increases your HP. 5 stars increases your damage and shatter by 50% while the shield is active. 6 stars, when you're switching to a weapon, you gain a ice shield equal to 20% of max HP and you're immune to crowd control when it's active. So overall, I'd say DPS if you need one. Scythe, EM Stars, Chakram. If you need a tanky damage dealer, but not quite as good as the bona fide other DPS, Huma is a great pickup. If you need a shield supporter, pick up Negating Cube. If you need an electro damage dealer, which is okay, but it really ramps up when you have Nemesis, you can pick up Thunderblades. Icewind Arrow if you really like playing a marksman type class. She does okay damage. And pick up Rosy Edge if you really want the shield shattering tank. Who is quite tanky actually. I would say more tanky than Huma definitely, but does less damage than Huma. But she also has much better shield shattering compared to Huma. So yeah, that's just a quick rundown of all the characters you can pick here. Hopefully that helps you make a decision on who to pick here. Thanks for watching.